Hello, this is Colette Summerland, and I am a psychic and angel medium. And I'm here today to discuss with you 5 ways to be prepared to receive a message from your deceased loved ones in spirit. But before we do, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. And if you'd like, please give me a thumbs up at the end of the session and comment and share with your friends. Also, if you'd like to have suggestion of a type of topic you want me to speak on, feel free to leave it below and I'll take a look, okay? So, first of all, I tell people it is important that when you go to a session or come here to a session to come with an open mind. It is so important because, first of all, I like to say that, again, to have uh, anticipation without expectation. Now, there are people who are cynics and there are people who are skeptics. Healthy skepticism is something that's really fine, but if a person is a cynic, then it's more so likely that the reading may not take off smoothly or take off at all for that matter, because we're all energy and it's an energy based universe and it's an energy thing. So oftentimes not only will that energy be felt by me, but waves of that energy will be, felt by spirit. So it's almost like putting up a stop sign. It's like saying, oh, I want this, but don't give me this. So that's why I say that. Okay? So it's important to come with an open mind, an open heart to receive a message. Another thing is number 2 is have anticipation without expectation. Like I said, oftentimes people, they're very nervous, and that's understandable, but it's good to have a healthy anticipation without expectation. Oftentimes people will get a lot more than, it's one of the little secrets actually. They get a lot more than they think they're going to get, because they're not like, putting a lot of pressure into the universe. Well, I've got to see this person, I've got to speak to this person, this has got to happen, that's got to happen. So just having no expectations and just going with the flow usually works out, okay? And another thing that I like to suggest to people is to speak to their loved ones ahead of time that are in spirit, because, and as soon as you know that you're booked for a session, it's important, even if it's over the phone. It doesn't matter in person or over the phone, because the energy is everywhere. So let them know that you'd like to hear from them, and yes, they will hear you. So it's important to bring up that point, because that also is an energy that will come into play. Now, this is something that I can't promise you, because it's like, that person more than I or someone else would know that person, and they still, retain their personality on the other side. That's like asking someone to come over to your house today. They may come over, they may not be able to make it, but they'll send, their niece instead or their friend instead. So it's kind of like that sort of exchange in my experience. And number 4, really, really interesting, is to take notes, because sometimes things may make sense to you later on in the reading, and you may get, wow, I totally agree with everything you said, but this one item, or I don't know anything about this person in a contest or baking a cake or whatever it is. And sometimes you have to go home and ask people who knew this person that perhaps was older than you, that you didn't know that they were in a certain activity, or that you didn't know about any kind of instance that you may not have known about. So, that's why I tell people, when they perhaps may receive something that they're not familiar with, just to hold on to that information, or maybe ask someone in the family, and that would be the validation for that. And sometimes people are nervous when they come to a session, so they may know and they may be aware of certain information of the past, but it may not come to the forefront of their mind at the moment, because they're so busy, they're nervous in front of you. They're nervous about getting this reading, especially if they've never had a reading, or even if they have had a reading before. And so they're nervous, and they're not thinking totally straight about what happened, what their grandfather did in the past, or what they said. So oftentimes a person will go, I was driving home in my car, and I remember now, or I got home and I looked through the photo album and, oh yeah, that's true. That did happen. So you never know. Okay? And number 5, it's important that you be aware. Be aware that your loved ones may come in different sequence, or for example, if you want to speak with your Aunt Lisa and your Uncle Tom comes in instead, so or he comes in first, so you may have the whole family. It's possible they may all come together. That's happened, like a tribe. And sometimes one person will come through, and sometimes you may want to hear from Aunt Sarah, but Aunt Betsy shows up instead. So there are a lot of activities and things that go on the other side of life, after the transition. So and some spirits are stronger than others. And oftentimes, just remember that it's often a healing experience that we're seeking to provide you, to let you know that they are okay on the other side. They really are. And that they love you, and that they may have messages just to validate that they are there, that they have always been around you, and it's a healing experience. So oftentimes too, sometimes a person may take a second session in order to really hear from that person that they wanted to hear from initially when they heard from their Uncle Tom or whoever. So it's sort of hard to kind of gauge, but most of the time, I would say 90%, I guess it's a good percentage, 90% of the time, people do come through that you desire. So that's why it's so important to make the request ahead of time. It's like making an appointment with someone or calling them saying, hey, let's meet for coffee and that sort of thing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't like to make them too long. So because I'm sure you have other things that you want to do this day or night. But anyway, thank you for watching, and please feel free to subscribe to my channel.